2, 1.
7 things you probably didn't know you need to know. I'm Jamie East, and this is the Standout 7.
Over the next 7 minutes or so, we're going to look back at the 7 days that saw the new COVID-19 variant spread around the world, Ghislaine Maxwell's trial start in the United States, and Barbados celebrate becoming a republic. This is the Standout 7 from the Smart 7. Don't forget to hit the follow button to get daily updates at 7 a.m. It was a week that was dominated by the brand new and supervillain-sounding Omicron variant of the COVID-19 virus. Boris made a weekend appearance in the Big Blue briefing room to update the nation.
Our scientists are learning more hour by hour. Omicron can be spread between people who are double vaccinated.
Face coverings will be mandatory again on public transport and in shops from Tuesday, and school children aged 7 and over will be asked to wear them in public spaces. As cases of the new variant appear to have originated from South Africa, the red travel list is back in operation, and there are also new restrictions for everyone arriving into Britain.
We're not going to stop people travelling, but we will require anyone who enters the UK to take a PCR test by the end of the second day after their arrival and to self-isolate until they have a negative result.
An emergency meeting of the G7 has been called by Britain, and the government's chief scientific advisor, Sir Patrick Vallance, says speed is of the essence.
The thing that we need to do is go earlier than you think you want to, harder than you think you want to, and more geographically broad than you think you want to. But of course the specifics of this are different, because this isn't now a widespread variant in the UK. It's one that's coming in, therefore we need to make sure we've got the right measures in place to detect it.
Tuesday saw new rules on mask wearing introduced at 4 a.m, which could see a fine of up to £6,400 for failing to wear a mask on public transport or in shops. Labour MP Dr Rosina Allen Khan says mask wearing should never have stopped in the first place, and it should be mandatory in pubs too.
We support the decision to introduce masks on public transport and in shops, but we believe this should never have been abandoned in the first place. Secretary of State extend the use of masks to hospitality and other settings? Or does COVID not spread in pubs?
The government argues that it's simply not practical to wear masks in pubs or restaurants where people are eating and drinking, and Health Secretary Sajid Javid told the Commons that the government won't keep measures in place if scientific advice changes.
If it emerges that this variant is no more dangerous than the Delta variant, then we won't keep measures in place for a day longer than necessary.
The trial of Ghislaine Maxwell continued in New York as she faces up to 80 years in prison on charges of grooming young girls for sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The jury heard from Epstein's longtime pilot Larry Vysotsky, who reeled off a list of well-known passengers that he'd flown on Epstein's various jets to luxury locations. They included Donald Trump, Kevin Spacey, Bill Clinton and Prince Andrew. Lisa Bloom, attorney for 8 of Jeffrey Epstein's accusers, who's observing the case, said the defence presentation of Jeffrey Epstein is utterly bizarre.
I think the lowest point for the defence was saying Jeffrey Epstein is a 21st century James Bond. He was so charming and intelligent and wealthy, a wonderful donor to the arts. You know, completely forgetting the dozens and dozens of victims who have come forward and said that he sexually assaulted them. And I have to assume that came from Ghislaine Maxwell herself, that she wanted that said. Perhaps she's still in love with him.
Tuesday marked an historic day for the island nation of Barbados. They formally removed Queen Elizabeth as their head of state and swore in their first Barbadian president some 400 years after British ships first appeared on their beaches. Prince Charles was on site to oversee the start of a new relationship between the two countries as President Sandra Mason was sworn in. Prime Minister and passionate climate change campaigner Mia Mottley spoke to Channel 4 News ahead of the ceremony.
I think this has been a long time in coming. As I was making the point, when I look at these little kids around here, the fact that they can grow up in a Barbados where they believe that they can aspire to be the head of state is very special. We shall continue to be good friends, but we must do so from a position where our people can aspire to be the best that they can be.
And to mark the occasion, Rihanna was awarded the title of National Hero of Barbados.
On behalf of a grateful nation, we therefore present to you the designee for National Hero of Barbados, Ambassador Robin Rihanna Fenty. May you continue to shine like a diamond.
Still to come on the Standout 7, Adele gets a cringy apology from Australia, and Alec Baldwin speaks out on the tragic shooting on the set of Rust. Right after this.
You're listening to the Smart 7. If you're enjoying it, you might also like the Smart 7 Ireland edition. Just search and follow us on your favourite podcast platform. The events on the set of movie Rust echoed around the world since the tragic shooting of cinematographer Halyna Hutchins. Alec Baldwin was at the centre of events, and apart from one odd roadside press conference, he hasn't really spoken about what actually happened. He finally sat down to tell his side of the story on Thursday night with ABC News host George Stephanopoulos.
Well, the trigger wasn't pulled. I didn't pull the trigger.
So you never pulled the trigger?
No. I would never point a gun at anyone and pull a trigger at them, never.
How did a real bullet get on that set?
I have no idea. Someone put a live bullet in a gun, a bullet that wasn't even supposed to be on the property. I think back, and I think of what could I have done.
Australian reporter Matt Doran went viral after he failed to listen to Adele's new album before he interviewed her. It meant that the interview never aired in Australia, and he's been under the spotlight ever since. He popped up on Channel 7 at the weekend to make a rather lengthy apology to Adele and her Australian fans. Apparently he missed the email with the link to listen to the album. OK, Matt, this is your moment. Off you go. The main thing to remember is not to make it too detailed, or it could sound a little bit cringy.
To Adele, I say, I'd never have knowingly disrespected you by deliberately not listening to your work. I am so sorry. Adele, track 10, Hold On, in the bridge after the second chorus, you write that sometimes forgiveness is easiest in secret. I'm not expecting that forgiveness, but I do owe you an apology.
Well, now it's December, Christmas is officially here. And what's the perfect Christmas gift? Why, it's a brand new song from Ed Sheeran and his very best mate and daily phone caller, Elton John. They've teamed up for the imaginatively titled Merry Christmas, which you can be almost certain you'll be whistling as you stroll around Marks and Spencer's in 2037. This has been the Standout 7, the best of the week from the Smart 7. We'll be back tomorrow, 7 a.m. with the Sunday 7. Have a great rest of your weekend.
Written, produced and published by Daft Dog.